All right, Jorin, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Always fun connecting with you, and I'm excited to talk to you live today. Jorin Rubin, family law specialist. We're all Jorin. So many people are at home, and there's been stories. And one of the things that intrigued me to really want to talk to you is just so many things that people are going through while they're at home, and you see a lot as a family law specialist. So, I thought I really want to just open up the floor to, somebody who does, an attorney who specializes in family law. What are you seeing, and what should people be aware of right now?
Sure. When people are socially isolated and stuck in their house, basically with their family, we're seeing an increase in domestic violence, unfortunately. The statistics are up to 20% increase, but obviously these statistics are probably not that accurate under the circumstances because you're in the home. How can you even report that you're the victim of a violent act? Also, the social isolation is making it easier to be abused because no one's coming to your house to check on you. You're not going to work with a black eye. So it's a very difficult situation for families, not just spouses or mates, but also the children too could be victims of their parents' violence. So it's a very difficult situation, and it's of great concern.
So what do you do? So, right. So somebody is experiencing this right now. I'm sorry to hear those stats and that news, but for somebody who is experiencing this, what can they do that keeps them, well, A, what can they do, and what can they do that keeps them safe?
Sure. Well, obviously, you can still call the police. It's still a crime to be the victim of violence. So you call the police, and they would start the process. But of course, then where does the person go? Are you putting this person maybe into a jail population, which is also very dangerous? Or yourself, you try to go somewhere like to the Haven or some of the other protective places that normally operate. I think people are scared to go because of COVID. So
Yeah.
it's a very difficult situation.
Are they open, places like the Haven and shelters like that right now?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Um, and so let me ask you a question. So, right. So so now that we're moving, hopefully, back into somewhat of some normalcy, and things are beginning to open up. It looks like things are going to begin to open up even more come the end of the month. What's something, right? Because I personally don't know anybody in this type of scenario, but with a stat of 20% reported, which means it's much higher, I would imagine many people do. And so for those people who can help, for those people who are experiencing, as we are kind of like a week or two away from being able to make it easier to get help, what do they do? Like, is there a phone number they call? How do they connect with attorneys like you? I mean, like, what's the process there?
Well, depending on the severity of the abuse, of course, obviously an actual physical abuse, again, you start with the police, and then there's domestic violence hotlines that can be called. But there's other kinds of abuse that people are also experiencing, which aren't a black and blue mark, but it's verbal abuse, and it's the kind of stuff that you could walk out of the house normally or go to your mom's and just take the night away from your spouse. And people have had to endure much worse conditions if they're already in a bad relationship. With the physical abuse is very obvious, but there's also other kinds of abuse people are enduring that is very bad for their mental health and obviously for their relationships and their families.
Yeah. I would think, the last 2 months for me, I've loved spending time with my wife and my kids. I have two teenagers. They're 14 and 17. They have been living teenager lives, and it now, like, got us all under one roof. And I don't mean to make it sound like, we're Leave It to Beaver over here, but it's been amazing having dinners together and making dinners and watching my kids actually wash dishes, I mean, and just have time to do things that they're always usually too busy to do, more board games, etc. But and I feel blessed for that. But for those who are in a situation where it is intolerable, what does what, where's the escape, right? So it's not physical, it's not maybe verbal, but it's just unhappiness, right? Because I think times like this, when you're stuck, you kind of know what's going on. So what does that look like?
Well, it doesn't look good. It's very difficult for people living under that roof in that situation. However, the courts are open. They are all working remotely by Zoom, and you can also do all the filings electronically. And my office is open. We're working remotely. And what we're doing, we can start divorce actions. You can try to be creative with separating yourself from a bad situation. Maybe some people have a close, another home they can go to, a vacation home now that we're going to be able to move more freely, hopefully. This is the kind of things that you need to try to do. Simple advice like getting away from the situation, walking outside, taking a walk, isolating yourself within the house the best you can to try to de-escalate a situation. Those are immediate problems that therapists are much better able to handle than I am. But in my clients and people calling me, it's enough. They've been under the roof with someone that they maybe didn't have a great solid relationship with, and now they're really stuck. I would say on the flip side, some people who started divorces and now have been stuck have found a newfound respect for their spouse, and some people are actually reconciling. So a few people have benefited. Yeah.
So Jorin, it's so it's interesting because we're in a time right now where a lot of us may have extra time, but we have less personal time. It's hard to find those pockets. We can't drive to a coffee shop, and although I did hear Commonwealth is open as of today, May 19th.
We're carry out though.
We are, yeah, we're going to carry out today, later today. But where do people go? It's hard. Like you're talking about going for a walk. I think that seems so simplistic. It's complicated. And so, how do you just kind of get out if you're in that situation? How do you get out without being obvious if you're in a situation where you can't be obvious?
People call me from their cars. They call me from the grocery store. They call me in a place where they're by themselves. A lot of times they'll hope that their spouse is leaving the house. Maybe that gives them time to talk to me. But yeah, it's definitely very challenging times. Very challenging.
Let's talk about how to have a great divorce. When I grew up, two of my parents' friends, it was interesting. I remember two sets of friends. One had a horrific divorce, and the other one had this amazing divorce where they didn't really like the situation of why they were getting divorced, but they were great friends and they were in it for the kids. And it was really nice to see. And my parents always used to say, such and such are divorcing each other, but they know the importance of being great parents. And so can you just kind of talk about, because I feel like, you hear the word divorce a lot of times and you think, oh my God, it's just, hopefully it's not a dirty divorce, this and the other. So how do you have a healthy divorce today?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. It's focusing on your joint love of your children. And if you love your kids, which most parents do, and you can put your love of your children, ahead of your hate for each other, that is really going to be a successful divorce, which just means you're not having fights in front of the kids and the children are not feeling torn by the parents. That is a great divorce to me, is when the kids come out unscathed and have two loving homes and loving parents. And that's what they talk about when they're in the other one's house. They're not talking about, oh, what did I eat at my dad's house, and what did we do, and what did his girlfriend look like? It's just talking about being parents, as if you're still married, just in separate houses. That's the best when you see that.
Yeah.
Um, one thing you haven't asked me about, and I'd like to mention though, is the uncertain financial times and the stress that that puts on a lot of families. And that leads people to divorce a lot of times. I think the statistics say that's one of the main reasons for divorce. So that's really a wrench in all of this, is that people are laid off, or they're back to work, or they're on modified schedules and modified salaries, a lot of financial uncertainty. And I think that's affecting people's ability to take that step and feel confident that they can, live separately from the person they've been living with.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Thank you for that. Jorin, let's talk about you, the business owner. Now, you've been practicing for a couple decades.
Yeah.
None of us have worked through a pandemic. And, how have you been managing and evolving and innovating your business? It's May 19th. This all started around March 13th, right? It doesn't even feel like where did the 2 months go? So how have you as a business owner transitioned?
Well, we're working remotely. I am lucky enough that I have the ability to have employees that can work from their homes, and the kind of work I can do on the computer a lot. And going to court requires, like this, sitting in my house and going on a Zoom. So that's been allowed me and my staff to be able to continue working. And I am just hoping that business will pick up. Just statistically, and just the talk, everyone's saying that once Corona really finishes, that divorces are going to spike. And that's based on, apparently in China, when they reopened their economy, or they had a huge spike in divorces filings. And we're starting to see it. I would say in the last 2 weeks, my phone's been ringing a lot more. I've had a lot of consultations with people. And then back to the financial piece, people aren't, they're waiting a little bit to make sure that people are going to be secure financially in order to go through with the divorce.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about how you've managed your team, as you're used to going to an office and seeing your people, and now you are managing a team remotely. How are you keeping? I've known you for a long time. You've got a great personality. I know humor is a big piece, and so just carrying that culture in a remote fashion.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of humor.
Yeah.
So we've been Zooming. We Zoom every day at a particular time. There's 3 of us, and the humor is usually about like what you're wearing, and your hair color, and how you're managing, and what you're eating, and if you can button your pants.
I haven't eaten. I just stopped eating a ton. I couldn't figure out why I was, we've been making a ton of cookies and baked goods. I finally stopped a couple weeks ago, but it was getting a little out of hand.
It's true. And you wear the spandex pants. But yeah, no, we try to talk regularly, obviously email and texting. A lot of clients are emailing. And so that's been the way we mostly communicate with the clients, and telephone calls. And so we've been trying to just have regular communications. I do miss my team, as you call them, my firm. Yeah, it's very, very weird.
I think it's great how you talk about, at a particular time every day. I think that predictability it does a lot. It seems very subtle, but I think it means a lot to the people. It gives people something to look forward to, a place to put their thoughts where they can, have a specific time to communicate. So I love hearing that. So I can't talk with you without talking about food. I know you're such a foodie. And I saw that you posted the other day that you ordered in from, I think it was Grey Ghost, was it?
Correct.
Yeah, Grey Ghost. And so talk to me about, you're someone who is used to, you and Eugene eating out a lot and, following the greatest restaurants. So how have you adjusted to that, and where are your favorite places to carry in from?
Yeah, so that's been difficult for us because we go out on the weekends to Detroit a lot or wherever good food is. But what we've been carrying in, so last weekend we did Grey Ghost, which was fantastic because they give you the raw hamburger. We cooked it at home. It was nice and fresh
Oh,
with some.
wow.
Yeah, it was great. What the Detroit restaurants are doing, I've carried out also from Chartreuse. I'm gonna do She-Wolf, and they give you kits and with instructions, and you put it together at your house. And
Really?
so I've been doing that, right, and
All
trying
the
new.
restaurants? I didn't realize that even like She Wolf and Chartreuse and all those, they give you the box and you make the food?
Correct. You put your order in and then you drive your car up, open your trunk, and they put it in. It's contactless. Everything is done. And then you bring it home, sanitize it, of course, and then heat everything up. And so, like with the hamburgers, we're totally raw. So we cooked them and followed the instructions and assembled the burgers. It was fantastic. And it's been something to look forward to.
Like Blue Apron-ish.
Yeah. I
Where
didn't
they,
want to say that. I didn't want to insult the Detroit restaurants, but
right.
yes.
No, I don't want to either. But that's interesting, and I'm curious, and I don't know if you can answer this, but that seems like a fun new way of adding onto their business, right? So like have the same food, but you can make it at home. That sounds
Right.
fun. I wonder if they're going to keep that up in the future.
I don't know. They change the menu every week, but it's much more limited than if you go into the restaurants. I
Yeah.
don't think they're making very much money if you think about it, because they're not turning over their restaurants. So
Right.
I hope they continue it.
That's cool. But they're building, they're growing their relationship capital, they're building their brand. I love hearing that. That's great. All right. And so, as far as you, Jorin, what have you and your family been doing for fun during the quarantine?
We've been playing a lot of cards and Rummy Cube.
Yeah, us too.
And
Rummy Cube and gin and euchre.
euchre. We're doing a lot of euchre,
Yeah.
and playing. My mom's in Florida, and I'm able to play canasta with her online, so that's fun.
Yeah.
We make a phone call together, and so we're all online on the phone together, and then we play on the computer. So it's nice, and I'm connected to my mother in Florida, my daughter in St. Louis, so it's nice. We're all trying to stay connected that way.
Yeah. Um, and tell me this. So coming now, kind of, I say post COVID, meaning kind of next week as we're continually going through this, but also just post COVID in general. How do you see your business changing? What element of your business will change permanently? Because I think now companies are looking at their business and saying, okay, from an innovative standpoint, there's certain things I've got to get up to 2020 with.
Right.
What are some of those things for you as a business owner?
Well, I think the main thing that I'm understanding is that the courts are going to continue Zooming. Well, Wayne County will be Zooming through the end of the year. No court appearances, in-person court appearances. Oakland County, I'm not sure if they have an end date, but some of the court appearances require me to drive, let's say, take Oakland County, to fill out a form. I'm there for 5 minutes, but the drive is like a good half hour on each side
Yeah.
that I have to charge my client. And I believe they're talking about making permanent changes so that some of those ministerial times that we have, ministerial tasks that are done when we go to court, can be done over Zoom or even just by email and not even making a formal appearance, which I think is going to help save money for the clients overall. And I think the courts, I know that there's a task force, the Supreme Court has assembled a task force
Yeah.
asking attorneys what's been good about what we're doing in COVID and what's been bad. Another thing I want to mention is that all court proceedings are now on YouTube. So that's giving us big challenges because they're being simultaneously transmitted on YouTube. So anyone can watch them, like anyone, your neighbor, your
Yeah.
adult child. Yeah, it's causing some problems for us, but obviously courtrooms have always been public, and that's the way the Supreme Court has dictated we're going to keep them public. So that's been an interesting new twist. And also not having your client with you in the courtroom as they normally would be to kind of give them a little guidance or speak to them off the record real quick
Right.
in the hall is also challenging during a court appearance. So we're all getting used to it.
Yeah, we're all rebuilding our playbook at the same time. You know, you talked about a couple stats. I got these the other day. Somebody sent me an article of a study that was done. I'll just read them real quickly because they're kind of interesting. Remote employees work an additional 1.4 more days per month in an office, which is nearly 17 additional work days a year. Remote employees take longer breaks on average, 22 minutes versus 18 minutes, but they work an additional 10 minutes a day. And
Right.
office workers are unproductive for 37 minutes a day, whereas remote are only 27 minutes a day. So, you know, they're doing all these studies, and I love the study of time. And so, you know, you look at 10 minutes here and 30 minutes here and 5 minutes here, we all
Sure.
have extra time to see more people, to serve more people, and to be there for the important things. And to also just spend more, I think, you know, I'd like your opinion on this, but to me, with some of that extra time, spending more time with our families. You know, Joanna and I have been trying to get on some type of schedule with having dinner with the kids every night, but
Right.
between tennis and basketball and this and that, it's so difficult. And this got us back to those roots of, you know, just finding space for it.
Yeah, no, I think that the children who are living through this are going to have really fond memories of this
Yeah,
COVID period because, like, oh, my parents were around all the time. Um, Although my college age son, who just graduated, he may not have such fond memories.
congratulations again to him.
I have fond memories, though. It's great to be with the family, as you expressed earlier. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think we're going to go back to normal, a different normal, but remote will be a part of it, but not like now. I mean,
Yeah.
now it's every day, every hour. So
Yeah, right, right. All right, last couple questions, Joran. Have you read any good books over quarantine?
that's funny. One of the things I should have said when you asked me if we're doing anything fun, my husband's family, we all read a book and then we have a book club together and we talk. So I'm in the middle of a book, The Dutch House, and
Uh,
that's our family book that we're reading now.
I gave my kids a list of business books when this first started,
Did they
and
read?
yeah, I pay them. I said every book you read, it's you know it's conscious capitalism. You know, I got to teach my kids. So, and I want them reading the books. You know, Seven Habits, and you know all a lot of the Who Moved My Cheese, right? And so it's been great.
I
It's
can't
been
believe
great.
you pay your kids to read a book. Oh my God.
Hey, you know what? I know it'll help them, and they're young, and I want to kind of infuse it into them. So yeah, why not? Why not? Joran, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you if they
Sure.
want to chat.
I have a website, which is jorinrubin.com, and my phone number is 248-799-9100. You can call, and sometimes people are there. Other times I will return the call within 24 hours.
Joran, you're always a wealth of knowledge. I appreciate all the wisdom that you shared, the perspective that you share. Thanks for everything, and thanks for being on the live show. And you know, I appreciate it. To all of you listening, stay safe, and thanks so much.
Thank you, John.
Hold on, I got to figure out now. Okay, there we go. All right.